the Job's Motorsport GT3 Series. We had the one of the two tracks to have a 24-hour race last weekend. And the N24, the Spa 24, is coming up next a couple of months' time. But first of all, we have the biggest event hosted at Spa, the JM League Round 2. Here, as you can see, we've got pretty decent weather today. It looks like it's going to be a dry, a clean, roughly 100 degrees Fahrenheit track. And we are looking very, very good. We're just in qualifying at the moment. I should also introduce my co-commentator. My name is Thomas Groves, aka the Motorhead alongside me. He was my teammate as Vernon's Motorsport conquered the Nürburgring 24 hours. It is Misha White.
What's up, everybody? Happy to be here, and amazing turnout. Almost tripled the field that we had the first week. You know, I think Spa has a little bit to do with that, but awesome turnout. Excited to be here, and yeah, just ready to get this going.
Oh yeah, I mean huge leaps forward. I mean I remember the last broadcast we did here in the GT3 League. We've come on leaps and bounds in pretty much every possible area. Here's a look at the starting grid. Then, 14 cars currently
this grid,
registered.
I don't think is this grid final? Yes, this grid is final. Are we rearing up to 9 o'clock? Yes. No, we still actually might have a chance for a couple people to complete a few more laps. We got about 3
Well,
minutes.
provisionally, I was told we'd be getting 17 cars on the grid today. At the moment we have 14, but that I think is subject to change as everyone loads into the session. What is notable actually, and that's something I should bring up as well, is of course in the GT3 League we have a one car per season rule in the sense that that basically means that you can run one GT3 car per the series, and once you've chosen it, you're locked in. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we're seeing in terms of car choices for this weekend. Of course, we've got over 10 new drivers into this field. It's a very brand new field. For the second round of the season, we're seeing a lot of Porsches. That seems to be the favoured car of the session. We still have a couple of McLarens in there, a BMW, 3 Ferraris, interestingly enough, and a Mercedes, the Sol Mercedes of Laukkanen, the only non-American American continent driver in the field. But we've got our first European starter in the history of Job's Motorsports. So we get a look at a couple of the cars out on track. We've got all these lovely fancy new broadcast graphics and everything. It's looking like a really exciting race. Of course, 90 minutes is how long the session will be. We've got the caution rule as well, which we'll get into when it becomes relevant, but we've got 2 cautions at some point in these races. It is randomly generated as to when they will be, which again we saw it last week, didn't we? Or last time I should say, because of course last week was NASCAR. So 2 weeks ago we saw a great race. And I think, Misha, we saw that kind of come into play, didn't we, with the epic battle we had in the late stages of that race at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the cautions it's going to be interesting here, and a long track for sure. So it's just going to be interesting how it shakes everything up. If somebody gets caught, it could screw with somebody's race. So we'll just have to see. And a lot more people on the field this time, 14. So that's awesome.
Yeah. But well, 14 drivers so far in the session, but leading them is the man that won last time out, Wyatt Cormier. Had an incredible battle. I think it was with Marcus Taylor in the Porsche last time out at Laguna Seca, taking the first win in the history of the Job's Motorsports season league. He's now topping the session by 0.3 of a second. So we wondered actually how these new drivers would come in and whether there would be much of a field shake-up. It looks like, at the top at least, it's still Cormier who's going to be the man to beat today, trying to take a second win in as many rounds of this GT3 Championship. And, well, we've got 13 of the drivers to compete with in that sense. So it'll be interesting to see if he can hold on to that win. But I think we'll be seeing a lot more action up and down the field, hopefully, today, Misha.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very curious to see. Well, not very curious to see. Obviously, he's qualifying pool right now, but I do want to note that Wyatt switched cars from the Mercedes last week to the Porsche, and Darby. As no, Darby didn't make it switch. I lied. But we do. Our race winner did switch from the Mercedes to the Porsche, so that's a very interesting switch. I wonder if that had to do with the new BOP. If he just preferred the Porsche because the Porsche in the old BOP wasn't necessarily the most competitive, or if the BOP may have just swayed him that direction. So it's just very interesting, but obviously it didn't affect him because he's still. Whoa!
We have a
He is.
brand new pole position time, Misha, by just over a tenth, or just under a tenth of a second. It's Larkin in the number 12 Mercedes. A great livery on that as well, I would say. I think that's going to be him done right at the end there. Cormier comes in and sets a time just 200ths off as well. That's a really close spread, and then they've got about almost a second on the rest of the field. Misha, that was incredibly late drama in that session there in qualifying.
Yeah, it looks like he crossed the line at the last possible second because the car spawned off the track. So if we could get that starting grid popped up real quick, if you can go through that, I'm gonna dip away for 2 seconds, do a quick little drivers meeting, and I'll be back.
Drama in
Hello, hello, can you guys hear me? All right, thanks for joining us for round two. Awesome turnout, guys. Just real quick, biggest things, caution periods. Once the one and just overall start, once the pace car pulls off, it's the leader's responsibility to control the pace. There's no restart zone. They can take off wherever. They just have to maintain a constant pace. With the safety car, and we will be keeping track of it once, if there is one, once the flag flies, you need to drop down to 80 miles per hour until you catch up to the field. I think the pace car travels about 50, something like that, but 80 miles per hour once the yellow flies. Pits will remain open the entire time, so wherever you're at in the track, you can pit. Um, Restarts are going to be single file, and once again, leader's going to control pace on that. I think that's about it. Um, Please, guys, keep it clean. 90-minute race. There's a lot that can happen, so let's not be a lap one hero of Rouge. I appreciate you, and can't wait to see who's going to take home that money. If anybody wants to get out on track, do whatever, you're more than free. Good luck, guys. All right, I am back. Driver's meeting is done. If you can just give me confirmation, can you see everything all right, Thomas, before we get underway?
Yep, I
All
can
righty.
indeed.
Awesome, awesome. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited. And was what we were seeing before not the starting grid? Is what I'm seeing now the actual starting grid? Man, I'm excited.
So what you were seeing before on the actual large screen, I still there it was a little funky. So what you're going to need to refer to as the timing tower However, it just reset back again. So wait until they all get out on track, and then that'll be a good clear sign. But I believe Laukkanen is your pole sitter, and then you have Wyatt Cormier, and then I
Okay.
forgot who got third.
Okay. That's what I thought it was. All right, cool. All right, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to
Awesome,
mute
awesome.
though since my mic is crazy. So
Yeah, I gotta say, having a Finn be up at like what 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. for this race is actually insane dedication.
Yes, it is, and we appreciate that guy for sure. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
That is awesome. But hey, that's what we're trying to build, and we do eventually. We got to get the grid, get some people behind us to help us run this. But we have thought already about having a EU side to this,
Yeah,
because we know that there's a time difference, obviously. Because you are one of those. What is it over there
yeah,
across the pond right now? 4?
yeah.
Ah, man, what a guy! What a guy! We got Alex Jakes in the booth. 4 a.m. over
Oh,
there.
mate, you're too kind. You are way too kind. I am just a humble little guy from a little corner of UK. It's just gone 2 a.m. over here, and I'm loving every second of it.
It's awesome. This is
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
It's
sir.
yeah.
Yep, and we're
It's been
getting.
so amazing just to come into a team and like come into the league and everything, and just like have that kind of unanimous, like the awesome support and that I've got from you guys has just been out of this world. Thank you so much. Even during the race and during the commentary, it's so awesome to kind of be here and do it and love what I'm doing, but also do it with amazing people and then have that kind of support that's kind of shared around. So yeah, it's amazing, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. And yeah, like Thomas mentioned, we ran the NERB 24. Wild race. Wild race. But we finished. That's all that matters, and we're looking forward to the majors. I don't know if anybody in this. I'm sure there's a couple guys in this league running the majors, but that is the next one we're looking forward to. Ventus Motorsports, our home. We took home a P2 in the LMP2 last year, and we're looking forward to maybe getting an overall win this year.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a great race. I'm super excited because I that was my first 24-hour race at all ever on the weekend with the Nürburgring 24 hours, and yeah, I've started my majors practice running the BMW GTB. But the plan is we're going to run GTP and hopefully a GT3 car as well. So it's going to be quite a big effort, but I'm really looking forward to taking part in that. I'm sure a lot of these guys will be doing the same. It's a huge race, and everybody wants to compete in the same way they will want to compete in here. And um, you know, hey, maybe one day. I mean, maybe one day we do our own 24-hour race here. That'd be really cool. But
Yeah,
I think
for
that's
sure.
long-term planning.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
We only should have a few seconds, I would think, left in this warm-up period. Set to 5 minutes. Get these boys getting the last couple practice laps in. But I do believe that we should be getting near the end of this practice session here.
long-term planning.
I'm actually
Yeah.
gonna break the fourth wall real quick. Yeah, we got 30 seconds, and we are back. 30 seconds left in this practice period, and then we'll get these boys racing round 2 at Spa. Man, gonna be
Yeah.
interesting, dude. I mean,
Oh,
isn't
it's
it
gonna be
crazy
so
that
interesting.
we got 14? I mean, that's basically we tripled. We basically tripled the field from last
Pretty
week.
much.
That's incredible, and I think it's just gonna keep going. Production looking better and better. Hiccups that we were facing last two races actually. First race we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. This second race we figured it out, and now we're really putting all the pieces together for this one. So I'm excited. I'm excited, and these boys are about to get on track,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have to see how this goes.
Oh yeah, man. 90 minutes, 17 or 14 cars, 90 minutes. It should be an amazing race, and I'm just looking forward. They're gridding up now and ready to head down through Blangimont to take the start and everything. I can't wait. This is gonna be so good. We've got to remind you then, to run you through the grid, it's Lauken and the Finn, who is somehow, I must say, we must give a huge thanks to him and commend his ability to be racing at his peak at about 2 a.m. I don't know whether he just has he set his body clock up for this or something, but it's 2 a.m. Well, actually, it's more like 3 a.m. over in Finland. But he's still out here, still doing some awesome racing. So credit to him. Alongside him, on the front row in the orange Porsche now, I've got a new livery to look out for. It's Wyatt Cormier, who's after 2 weeks away, he's back in GT3. He's almost at the pole time, and I think he's going to be looking incredibly competitive. Marcus Taylor is behind him, who was his main rival, of course, in that race. And then we've got Goldchrist in the Ferrari and the BMW, who will share that row. Most of the field at the moment, Porsches, it must be said. That seems to be the favourite car, I think. Has a lot of strong capability at most of the tracks we're running, so that's probably why it's been chosen. We do have the Ferraris. Of course, we've got a BMW. He's only marked as 3 on the broadcast, but it should be a great race. We're going up towards the starting gantry now. Of course, we're going to be using the F1 start at Spa here. Of course, in real life, in the Spa 24 itself, they will use the run up towards Eau Rouge to start the race. But we're using the F1 grid here, F1 pit lane. And there is the drone camera, just getting you a nice little look at all of our races here. We've actually got a couple of teams, drivers representing existing racing teams, as well as we get ready to go. It's Spa, Francorchamps. The revs are rising, and we're underway for 90 minutes of GT3 action here in round 2 of the Jobs Motorsports GT3 Series in the inaugural season of competition. Wyatt Cormier is going to try and go around the outside of Laukkanen in the Mercedes, but it's Laukkanen who will get a better start ahead of the Canadian down towards turn 1. They're all streaming up towards Eau Rouge. Cormier is going to have to stay in the slipstream, and I think he might have a good chance up towards the Les Combes chicane. He's staying in the slipstream as everybody's managed to get through cleanly up through Rouge, and notably and commendably, none of them taking off tracks as well, which you can see that quite often in the bigger GT3 races we have in real life. They do it. Cormier is going to go to the inside line. Almost, he's going to try and stick up his nose at the inside line. Laukkanen's going to stay around the outside, watching both of them as Goldschmidt, but goes Cormier to take the race lead then. Inside the opening half a lap, somebody's gone off with a huge crash behind. There's a spinner, and he's going to collect somebody. Is he the Ferrari? It's gone off as well. At the front of the race, though, it's still Wyatt Cormier. We'll confirm who's involved there. It's Hernandez, I think, at the moment. Cannon and the Ferrari as well. I think they've been involved. At the moment, it's the top 3 then of Wyatt Cormier, Laukkanen and Goldschmidt. It's for Porsche, Mercedes, Ferrari, and then Marcus Taylor, who was, of course, involved in the Laguna Seca race 2 weeks ago in the Porsche, and then the BMW and Cortez's Ferrari. So looks like they've, apart from the incident earlier, it was Hernandez and Cannon in the Porsche and the Ferrari that we can confirm was involved in that wreck. I'm quite glad that nobody else was involved. It looked like quite a scary incident, especially when you think about how many times that can happen in that part of the race. But at the moment, Wyatt Cormier got the best start out of anyone, and he's storming away to the front, Misha.
He is for sure. What a wild start. And man, Wyatt took his chance there after the straight and didn't quite land it under the brakes, but took him on the outside. That was amazing. Just hasn't looked back. We'll see if once these tires get warmed up, if the number 12 Mercedes can catch up. But yeah, man, and we might be able to get a replay and see what happened there later on in the lap between Hernandez and Cannon. Let's see.
I think here's a replay of what happened at the start then. So we're on board with the Ferrari, and there's contact. I think it's the Porsche that just gets side by side, makes contact, spins round, and somehow everybody else avoids him apart from the Ferrari of Cannon, the number 24 machine. They're both continuing out on track, luckily enough, so they've not really received enough damage to warrant a meatball. Both able to continue on. There is There is Lauken in the Mercedes, who I think has got just enough of a gap on Marcus Taylor, who's made his way up to P3. He's now going to be looking to hunt down the Finn and try and catch up to Wyatt Cormier in the leading Porsche, who's opened up about 1.4 seconds. I want to take you back to that move actually because you mentioned there he didn't get the best initial launch up towards the first corner. I think it was much smarter to use the run up the straight, the camel straight, and get the move done on the inside of turn four because it doesn't really leave Laukkanen with many opportunities to try and fight back. You can very much get a few couple of corners under your belt, open up that gap, and by the time they got back down onto the run towards Blanchimont. There was nothing that Laukkanen could do in the Mercedes. The gap's come down by about 3/10 this lap, so the Finn is finding some pace at 3 a.m. over there in Finland. But for now, it's Wyatt Cormier in the lead, and Marcus Taylor, having cleared Goldschmidt in the Ferrari, is now starting to bear down on the two of them.
Ooh, off track. Nice save. Nice save. That looks like the number 14 Mercedes or BMW. I'm sorry, right there with a good save after getting in the gravel trap.
Yeah, really solid moment there of just catching that car in the gravel trap for the 14 BMW, the only BMW we have here in the field as we look back at Wyatt Cormier, who is opening up that gap. Well, I say opening up, it's starting to come down. Indeed, it has breached inside the 1 second barrier. So potentially, if Laukkanen can get a couple of good corners together through the chicane and get a good run out of turn one, we might see a bit of a slipstream battle coming in as Cormier has been able to kind of warm his tyres up and get used to get himself bedded into the race. But Laukkanen's now got to do all the work, all the hard work to catch back up and retake the lead. He's in the slipstream somewhat of Cormier, but I doubt it will be enough this time. Meanwhile, look at the run Goldsmith's got of the final corner. We'll have to watch and see if he can get the move done up towards Lecombe. He's in the slipstream now. He's got to hold it steady and fast through a rouge, which he does. One of the hardest corners in the world. He's going to have the slipstream on Marcus Taylor's Porsche, and I think he's going to go for this one, Misha.
Yes, he is. Splashing his lights. Let's see. He may not. Wow. He did not go for it. That was actually good patience right there, looking for a better opportunity.
Indeed, I think. Well, I think it looked to me like he had the. If he wanted to go for the dive, he could have. He's staying right on the back bumper at the moment of the Porsche of Marcus Taylor, who of course scored a second place in the last time out. He's going to have that point advantage. So just to run you through the points advantage, it is a full season points league, and because Wyatt Cormier, Marcus Taylor, and Darby Marioth, our very own Darby Marioth of Aventus Motorsports, they all competed last time out, so they've got a bit of a points advantage on the rest of the guys here. That's going to give them a little bit of an advantage because, of course, you've got 8 races this season. It could come down to the points they scored in that first race by signing up as the OGs of this league. As we look back on, I think these are the two cars quite possibly that are towards the back of the grid. It is, I think it's Darby. That is actually Darby Marioth, our very own Darby Marioth.
Yes,
Here it's
sir.
Dembowski, who is going to try and take him, I think, or Jenkins, sorry, in the number 4, I should say, who is looking quite strong at the moment, getting a little bit on the gravel there, but that's just a sign of the commitment. We've got a good field spread at the moment, but actually, you're looking back at that top gap. It's kind of stabilizing at about 1.3 seconds at the moment between Cormier and Lauken, and Marcus Taylor isn't really making much of a headway into the lead battle at the moment. It's staying around that 1.2, 1.3 second gap, and I think that's because Misha, he's having to do all the defending from Goldschmidt in the Ferrari, who's going to have another good run down towards Lecombe, and the BMW is right there with them.
BMW might end up having a really good run if Goldschmidt has to lift any. Oh, let's see. Here it comes, possibly. But I don't know. I don't. Maybe wasn't able to hold it all the way through.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to hold it through a rouge, and Marcus Taylor is now going to become very, very vulnerable to Goldschmidt in the Ferrari, who's going to look to take third place on the road, side by side into there. They come chicane. The BMW is going to try and find his way through as well, but Goldschmidt gets into third place, and now Marcus Taylor's got to do an attacking and defending job to try and keep the BMW behind the number 10 BMW, 14 BMW, I should say, behind and try and attack Goldschmidt. But you can see immediately he's on the defensive, and of course he needs to be on the offensive of Goldschmidt to try and get the place back. But at the moment, he's kind of stuck piggy in the middle of those two cars, and what this is allowing to do, look at the momentum and the speed and the gap that Laukonen's allowed himself to build up. He's still about 1.5 seconds back from Wyatt Cormier, but he's suddenly got 3 seconds or thereabouts on this gaggle of cars. There's this group of three that are squabbling to try and get onto that podium position. We're very, very, very early into the race at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, it looks like though that Goldschmidt is starting to up right here. I think he's gonna really build a gap.
Yeah, well, he's getting away from Marcus
Yep.
Taylor, who's now going to come under some real pressure from that 14 BMW. If it all depends really on how you get the exits out of those couple of corners. That's where it really matters. Coming up to Blanchimont now, this is pretty much flat in a GT3 car. It shouldn't be a problem for any of them in terms of the momentum. And that's the thing. Heavy braking zone now into the bus stop chicane. Of course, the one a lot of us have grown up with on iRacing, because of course the old bus stop wasn't there when the iRacing service was launched. But I feel like these guys are almost going to get stuck in the slipstream, because we see it in F1 and it kind of is still a thing in GT3, but not so much, not so prevalent. It's the dirty air. Yes, they're going to get the slipstream down into Lake Holm, but they're also going to be stuck in their dirty air through a rouge, and that's going to kill your momentum, make it much harder to pass. And we're seeing that, I think, play out at the moment as we ride on board with the Ferrari. I think this is Vigil. It's a Cannon.
So replay.
He's a couple of laps down.
Replay.
No, to replay. So he's come into the pits. So possibly we saw he was the Ferrari that was spun out on the first lap. I think he probably sustained a bit of damage. Initially, I thought it wasn't enough to necessarily warrant a pit stop, but he's obviously decided to take it. We are going to have pit strategy involved today. Here is the Porsche. I believe this is that is the 11. So that is Vigil, who's taken it quite slowly out of turn one there.
A little bit deep there.
But he's running around about 100 seconds out. It's about just over a lap or so down on the field. Here is the other Porsche, the 17, that is of Norton. So there's already been 2 or 3 cars hitting trouble today. I've got to say, it was a brilliant, brilliant livery, I must say. And look at that. He's emerged at the pits just ahead of those leading 2 cars. They're going to be kind of acting a bit as potentially traffic now for these guys who are on the lead lap. We've got 3 cars, or 2 cars at least, running off the lead lap pretty much. Here is Wyatt Cormier. I think it'd be interesting to see what the gap's like to the car ahead. He's got a clear track ahead, so maybe I was wrong in that Norton came out at a different point. He's got about 1.8 seconds on Laukonen at the moment, so he's running quite comfortably here in Spa with. Well, we can't quite tell you how long is left in the race on the broadcast.
He did
He's
get lapped. Was that Norton? Norton is way down there behind both of these guys, so he did end up getting lapped.
Yeah, in fact, you can just see him for a smidge there of a second on the top of your screen. I think he's now coming under pressure from Goldschmidt in the Ferrari, who is kind of breaking away from Marcus Taylor, but not entirely. The BMW is there as well, the 14 BMW. So that's going to be a really interesting battle to watch. They seem very much equal on pace.
Yep, and let's
As
go
we,
back to this to the number 7 Goldschmidt and check back in on this battle. Oop, Upper Rouge. Let's see if any of these
Yeah.
cars get a run.
Well, that's the key question. I think it's going to be a situation where they're all trying to get a run, either towards Blanchimont or up towards Les Combes. You can see Goldschmidt going and making that defensive move to try and cover off Taylor, who won't quite have the speed to go up his inside this time. And actually, he's got to go defensive from the BMW, the 14 BMW there.
Yeah, and
I think Goldschmidt is kind of unable to necessarily break away from these two, but he's certainly not having to think about as much mentally. He's not got quite the mental load of Marcus Taylor, who seems to be more defending than attacking at the moment, under significant pressure from the BMW. We saw last week how he was able to take the fight at times to Wyatt Cormier. He almost had the race won, but we think it was a drive-through penalty that he received for too many off-tracks that cost him the race at Laguna Seca. Now he's in the thick of it here in at Spa. He's going to have to go to the inside, but no, because BMW almost has a look up the inside between these two chicanes. I actually don't know what these chicanes are called. I can't remember their name. I mean, I know the con, but I don't know those ones. I don't even know if they have a name officially on the track map as we come up on the run towards Ponchman. Now, this is, of course, crucial. This is where you really got to get it right. And look at the BMW. He's going to draw alongside.
Yeah.
He's got the run.
He
He's
held
got
his
the
foot
run
to
up
the
towards
floor,
Ponchman. They're side by side. Is he going to get it
picking
done
up the
before the
draft,
corner even?
picking up
Why?
a little bit of the draft.
Marcus Taylor's going to try and hold round the outside, but in the end, he's going to have
What a
to give
beautiful
way.
pass.
So the BMW, the only BMW in this field, moves up one spot, and now he's immediately on the back of Goldschmidt. That was a great bit of overtaking, wasn't it, Misha?
Yeah, that was, and I gotta say, how awesome are these guys racing for this final podium spot? This is for the final cash paying position right here, and these boys are going off, clean racing, so evenly paced. Uh, just amazing. Let's see if Marcus starts to fall off here a little bit because he was defending quite a bit there, but now he's on the attack. So we're gonna see if the BMW and Ferrari can take off from him, or if he's gonna be able to put on an attack.
Well, the BMW staying right on the back of Goldschmidt alone. I'd suggest he's probably got the pace to have a look at that final podium spot. Goldschmidt, Goldschmidt moves across to try and cover him up there on the run up to Les Combes, which he will just about do. But that Rover livery BMW is looking very, very racy at this moment in time.
It
Marcus Taylor is
is.
still there, having a couple of little dives and looks around at possibly getting that place back. These three, as we've have been pretty much side by side, are kind of sticking together since the start of the race. And as you mentioned, Misha, yes, there are cash prizes on offer today. And Wyatt Cormier, as it stands, would take home the $30 cash prize that you get for winning an individual round of the championship. If you win the overall title, that's $250 of cash funding for you. That's a lot of money that you're racing for. And of course, if you get top three in any individual race, there's payouts. There's real money on the line here, and this is a three-way battle for what is essentially $15, if I'm getting my maths right. So there's $15 on the line. It's a lot more that you're fighting for than just pride here.
Yes. Final podium position pays out tonight. Let's see, double so $10 tonight, but still decent payout for third place. When third place is normally $5, and Taylor, he's already tasted that. He's already P2 last race. He's tasted getting paid out, and he wants to. Oh
Oh
no!
no, there's contact. There's
Oh,
contact. The
let's see if he
Ferrari has
made
gone.
any
It goes
contact
around.
with the wall or.
Can't quite tell where he's gone, but what it means is that the Goldschmidt, that the BMW has already entered the pit with. I potentially think that might be front end damage on the BMW. It's a front engine car, so there's more. There's more at stake if you hit the front of that thing, and that's exactly what you've done. I think it was just a poorly timed move from the BMW. Goldschmidt went around. He's now entering the pit as well, so they're both in the pits. I wonder what the optionals will be on those two cars. Drama here, and Marcus Taylor is going to be licking his lips because that's the perfect move for him. He's got 5 seconds of a gap back to P4. He can now just settle down and try and close the gaps to Laukkanen and Cormier. But goodness me, more drama here at Spa-Francorchamps, a track that seems to invite drama every single time a racing series enters the Stavelot region of Belgium. Something kicks off. It's kicked off here, and we'll have to wait and see what happens to Goldschmidt and to the BMW, who, well, Goldschmidt is running in 11th place, is scored in 11th at the moment. The BMW is staying in 6th. So that could suggest that it was a simply a fuel or tyre stop for the BMW, who's emerged 24 seconds behind. It could be a drive-through as well, though. We'll have to wait and see. There he is. He's re-emerged on the track, whereas Goldschmidt has stayed in for a little longer.
Goldschmidt
In
might
fact,
have
he's
got the
staying in
worst
the
of it.
pits as we
If we
speak,
can
I
get a
think.
replay and see, we don't know where Goldschmidt ended up. We didn't get the camera in angle of where he ended up
Not
after that
quite.
spin. So I would like to see if he made any contact with. Okay, let's see here.
Here's a Here's another look then. You can see the BMW has a look to the inside, but Goldschmidt's gone defensive already on the outside and then just seems to move across to try and make a late block. And then,
Oh,
oh,
he
goodness me,
doesn't hit the wall though, so that's just
that's
going
what
to
happens.
be
He
damage from the
somehow,
BMW. Oh,
as you say, Misha, managed to, I think, stay out of the wall there and
yes.
just took his time out. Of course, had to rejoin safely, which is exactly what he did. Went immediately into the pits
Yeah,
to
but
get
we're
those, well, I think it's a fast repair we have, isn't it, in
we
this
do
league?
no, we do not have any fast repair, so he had to take the whole repair, but it does not look like he lost a lap. I think he is still on the
No.
tail end of the lead lap right now. But what
Yeah, to
what a turn of
75.
events. What a turn
Oh
of
gosh, yeah.
events.
And the BMW is he gone back in the pits?
He has went in again and I kind of wonder if that might have been did he pit? Did he just give himself a self drive through for hitting
He might have, yeah.
Goldschmidt? He might have
That
gave
would
him.
have. Well, I mean, it'd be incredibly sporting
Looks
of
like
the
he didn't
BMW if
pit.
that's
It just
exactly
looks
what he's
like
done.
a
I think that's
drive
what he's
through.
done now.
Oh, but he just went, or
Nearly
was
misses
that?
pit exit too.
And that's going to be another drive through right there. He is going to
Quite
get
possibly
another
indeed.
black
Oh, goodness
flag
me, it's all.
from there.
I mean, these two were they were having such a good battle for those three, and now it's kind of disappeared. What's also noticeable is why all that's been happening, Wyatt Cormier is hesitating absolutely not at all to extend his lead up to 4 seconds over Laukinen, who's come in and is kind of upsetting the most of the establishment, except Wyatt Cormier, who seems a bit indomitable at the moment in the sense that he's got 4 seconds of an advantage in the Porsche. He's switched cars and he's showing no signs of slowing down. Marcus Taylor, meanwhile, 12 seconds back from the front two. And then we've got the McLaren. The 22 McLaren now is up into fourth place. They're
Yeah,
running through the rest of the order, which you can see on your screen.
I would
The
like
Ferrari of
to.
Cortez.
I don't mean to interrupt. I'd like to see if something happened to Cortez because he was in fourth place when we went back to look at those replays. So I wonder if he had a moment. He may have pitted. I'm not sure, but he
On the
was
timing, it showed that he pitted.
okay. So look, Cortez pitted. So that gives the answer to that. That is why he is down in fifth place.
Yeah, so well, we'll have to figure out. We'll have to wait and see why he pitted. I'm not sure unless he was involved in that first lap accident in some way. I think he was he was side by side
Show that he pitted.
With the Norton Cannon kind of situation, but there he is running around in fifth place at the moment. He's got a bit of a gap to Jenkins behind in the number 4. I'm not sure unless he was involved in that first lap.
Yeah, I do. And right here we got Marioth and Jenkins fighting for fifth and sixth. So
Indeed, we
they are
have. There
coming.
is.
They are. This battle's coming to Cortez right now, and we got a pit from Jenkins. So we're gonna have to see what kind of pace Marioth has if he can close the gap to
Yeah.
Cortez. And I do want to say that Eduardo, he is also a member, member of Aventus. Ooh, Darby a little bit deep, able to keep it on track though. Um, Darby and Eduardo know each other. They have been in the car with each other. As you know, Thomas, there's been two different Aventuses. So Eduardo was a member of the first one, and these guys know each other quite well. So let's see if Marioth can close this gap and get close.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's going to help both of them because there's going to be a bit of a psychological battle there because, of course, they'll know each other's strengths and weaknesses. They'll know who's better at doing overcuts, who's better at doing undercuts. In the background, you can see the BMW who's kind of recovered his way up to seventh place at the moment. That's going to be an interesting narrative to follow. Can he try and climb back up to where he was running in P4? But no, as you mentioned, Darby Marioth, an OG member of the original Adventures Motorsports. Of course, they'll know each other's now running with the newly born one. and doing very well at doing it. Did a mighty fine job, I must say, out on the Nürburgring over the weekend. But yes, running that livery as well for Aventus Motorsports in his McLaren and a car he loves. I understand it seems to be a strong one of his personally. We saw him run it a couple of weeks ago as well at Laguna Seca, and now what he's going to have to do is not only is he going to have to try and outfox Cortez in the Ferrari, he's also going to have to deal with the BMW, but is rapidly closing in. It's going to have to be a recovery drive for the 14 today. Probably one he didn't want to have to do. It was just a very unfortunate situation up at the bus stop chicane, and now both of them are going to have to try and make up for that. And that starts really by trying to get past Darby Marioff. But I can tell you now that having raced with him in the Nürburgring 24 hours this weekend, Darby is a very consistent, very clean, and very competitive racing driver who will no doubt be doing everything he can to hold on to sixth position. Again, every point matters in this season. We're still expanding the field. We've got 8 races in total, and with 25 points on offer, it's pretty much the F1 point system that we're using essentially for this league. So that means that every single point, every single race counts. Look at the way that we're riding on board with the BMW at the moment. The way he just took that kind of first corner, it's a bit more of an aggressive style. He's got the slipstream now up towards Eau Rouge. Let's just compare how they take it. It's a I think it's a tighter line here from uh, from the
Give me
BMW,
another
and that's what
run.
we're seeing because he's
It's gonna
got
be a wheel
already in the
run.
slipstream of Derby Marioff. He's going to pull to the inside line up towards Lecom. They go. Is Derby going to let him by? It's going to be side by side into Lecom for the moment, and Derby in the end has to give way. I think the BMW was squeezing him a little bit there, giving him just enough space. And in the end, it's good racecraft by both of them to ensure that they both get through Lecom in good time. I think that the BMW did have the pace advantage on Derby from what we could see there. So perhaps it was a bit inevitable, but Derby will try his best to try and fight back. Of course, he's going to have to just stay with him to the run towards Blanchimont, and he's doing that for the moment. Got a couple of big corners coming up, and then it'll be all about the exit. I feel like the BMW, having raced it myself, I can't speak for the McLaren, but from my experience of running the BMW on the Nordschleife and in practice, it seems like a very planted car. You can very easily just stamp your foot on the throttle on corner exit, and it seems quite happy to stay there at full throttle as we cut back to Wyatt Cormier. We've lost the broadcast graphics for a moment, but I'm sure that will be resolved. There we go. Words of magic, words of prophecy there from myself. Yeah, he's back up in the lead there with a pretty steady lead of 4.1 seconds. I think for the first time really in the race, Misha, that's kind of stabilized.
Yeah, looks like that stabilizing, and with all the chaos, we definitely right now we kind of got some gaps. Closest battle on track was the one that we just stepped away from, was the one between the BMW and Derby. But other than that, everybody's kind of there's gaps set, and yeah, um, that was crazy there for a second. But we still have the opportunity because I know you mentioned, but I think you said we have two cautions. It is up to two. There could be zero, there could be one, there could be two. So it is going to be interesting to see here, and we don't know. We do not know. We put this into a randomizer, and then it will tell us. Well, not even tell you or me, because you and me don't know. The only person who knows is Job, and he doesn't do it. He sets it in a randomizer, and then when it tells him to do a caution, if it so chooses, he sets it off. So it's going to be interesting to see if we get one, because right now this race is kind of settled down between all the chaos we've seen. It looks like everybody up to 11th, I think 11th and above, is all still on the lead lap. So if we get a caution, it's a reset. That's essentially lap zero on this race.
Looks
We don't.
like, from my point of view, sorry to cut you off, that only one person is not on the lead lap. 1 through 13 are all in the same lap.
Okay, so 1 through 13. 1 through 13 is all on the lead lap. I am sorry about that. I can't do quick
Might
math.
not. The live timing though might be representing something else, but usually all the same color is same lap.
Okay. Um. So yeah, that is apologies on my part because I can't do quick math between seconds and minutes.
Might not.
Um.
It might. It might.
But
Well, it's
regardless,
about a minute 50 or something per a minute 50 per lap. What we have got now is the first pit stops of this race, the scheduled pit stops for the leaders. They're now entering the
ooh,
pits.
in a little
I
bit.
feel like Laukkanen might have just undershot his pit box
Yes, I
there.
think he
He
did.
crept forward. I think that will cost him a couple of seconds. As here comes Marcus Taylor also in from P3. There is the McLaren from P4 from running for the Artemis Motorsports machine. We've got a couple of drivers in this race who are, of course, racing for other teams. Um, Outside of Aventus, and we welcome them all. It's great to have some fellow
Oh,
endurance racing
that's
teams. And
P1.
oh goodness
That's
me, out of the pits!
P1. That's
Oh goodness
P1. He's
me!
gonna have a drive through. That's gonna be a penalty. Oh
Out of the
no.
pits, spins Wyatt Cormier, and he's going to do a great bit of defending, which he's not going to be able to do. Mark
Oh,
Laukonen's going to have a brilliant
two weeks
opportunity
in a
to
row.
take the lead of this race, which he will do. Wyatt Cormier, so usually composed, spins on the exit of pit lane. He'll cop a penalty for
Man,
that, I think, as well, because he crossed the
yes,
white line.
he
And it's a
absolutely
perfect
will.
example of just how difficult these GT3s are to drive on cold tyres, Misha. The race leader
Oh my
has a
goodness
moment of drama, and we're
gracious.
going to get a replay of it now. I think he's just spun the rears as he's
Yeah.
got out of the corner. Indeed, he has. He's spun the rears, and you know what? He's lucky not to have turned that into the concrete wall on the
Oh, and
outside line.
he
Very
couldn't get the
lucky
donut.
is Wyatt Cormier. He's going to have the pace advantage which he's had all day on the field. But with this drive-through penalty, it's going to cost him. If he does receive it, it'll cost him about a good 30 seconds, and that would put him around P6, P7 at the moment. This is a huge, huge break for Laukkanen on debut, the Finn. It's about 3, 4 a.m. over there at the moment. And what a turn of events here at Spa-Francorchamps. We said it earlier, it invites drama. It's giving us plenty of it. And the only Mercedes in the field is now at the head of the field, Misha.
Yeah, that is crazy. And 2 weeks in a row, man. Last week, Wyatt he did get the win, but he made it hard on himself by missing the opportunity to pit under yellow. And right here, man, spinning out of the pits. Just the pit cycles have not been kind to him so far, and that's we'll have to see if he is able to make the same type of comeback. He had a little bit of help from Taylor getting a drive through. But we'll have to see here if there is any type of caution, bring this field together, and let's see if he pits here. Let's see if he pulls in and does a drive through. And
Well, you
there he
can see him. There he
goes.
go. There he goes. Wyatt Cormier has to make this pit stop, and I imagine he will be cursing himself as he drives through the pit lane at that pit speed limit of 37 miles an hour. It's the longest pit lane speed of your life. Just having to drive through that whole thing. What this is going to allow Marcus Taylor to do, though, is I think it'll be quite close on the exit, but I think he's going to take P2 from Wyatt Cormier.
He
Indeed, he
is.
does. Look at that. They were together at the end of the race last time out in Laguna Seca, and they found each other on the track once again. Marcus Taylor has got a couple of seconds of an advantage over Wyatt Cormier, who is going to see his rival from Laguna Seca, is going to see how he oh, so nearly lost the race to this man in the blue and the green Porsche at the moment, and he's going to be seething, I imagine, just trying to get back up to the lead because he's got 16 seconds to close in on Lauken on pure pace alone, and that's before we enter the conversation of strategy. Of course, they've made their first pit stops at what is going to be a schedule 2 today. It's a pit stop every half an hour roughly because we run 50% fuel tanks and on these cars. There won't be tyre changes, but the fuel stipulation rules mean that you're going to have to pit probably twice in the race at some point. whether you go and try and fuel save and make a splashing dash, whether you come in early and give yourself an advantage later on in the race with more fuel to use. I don't think any of them took tires, unlike last time out in Laguna Seca. There won't be tire changes, but it's going to be incredibly interesting to see if Wyatt Cormier can come back from this deficit. It's kind of like last time out. You mentioned that Las Vegas race where he didn't pit under that second caution we had, and he nearly lost the race because of it. I mean, I think it's too early to wonder whether he's thrown this race away. But Misha, you can't be making mistakes like that in the position that Wyatt's in.
Yeah, without a doubt, and that this very uncharacteristic. Only thing I can think of possibly is maybe he did take cut tires. There is a because the race length is right there where you could possibly want to consider taking tires. So it's going to be very interesting to see. We're going to have to go back and look at that to see if he might have gotten tires and that was cold tires out of the pits because if not, he just got throttle happy. And I also wonder if that might be a product of possibly switching cars too. I don't know. I don't know if the Porsche is his main. Maybe the Mercedes was his main, and he just liked what the BOP did to the Porsche. Um, I don't know, but either way, that's just tragic. But it looks like he's getting pretty close here. If we can cut back, looks like he's about to cut it within a second. He might have a. He might. Yep, slipstream starting to cut it within a second right here.
Well, there we go. He's got the slipstream. I'd suggest he'd be able to make this move happen potentially next time around because look at the way he's trying to close up and starting to close up through this second sector. Now, this is where it's going to be crucial for him because yes, he's on the back of Marcus Taylor, but he's got to stay with him. And then again, we've seen it happen earlier where you can get the run down towards Blanchimont, and then got a great opportunity to make an overtake. Look at the way he's throwing that Porsche around. As you said, I think he probably has taken tires because it would make total sense if he's just got a bit too trigger happy, which we know the Porsche is. It's a trait of Porsche in a lot of their cars is that they're very sensitive on the rear tires, especially when they're not up to temperature and not in those optimal ranges. For racing, I'd suggest that's probably what's happened. And for his sake, hopefully that hasn't destroyed the tires, which it can do, of course, when you heat them up like that and give them a flat spot. But at the moment, he's cracking on down. He's doing what he can to try and close up that gap to Lauken. It's come down by about a second or so since he kind of got back underway. He's going to have a good run here on Marcus Taylor as they run up towards Blanchimont. Through Blanchimont they go. Can he make it stick into the bus stop? Goes slightly wide, but there he is. Wyatt Cormier is going to send it down the inside of the bus stop. This is the battle for P2 overall. We're riding on board with Marcus Taylor, who's going to hold position on the inside. Cormier flashing his lights. He's very eager to make this move as quickly as possible because that gap to Laukkanen is still hanging around 16 seconds for his own race. He needs to make this happen quickly because, as you said earlier on in the show, one of the things with this league is that we have got randomized cautions and that will come into effect. But also, we don't know when those cautions are going to come out, and we don't know how many they're going to be. There might not be a caution this race, and it might be decided on pure pace, but also there might be two cautions, or there might be two opportunities for Cormier to close up. We just don't know. And the crucial thing is, you can't bank on there being a caution. You have to assume that we're going straight to the checker flag, green all the way, and that would mean that he's got to find some 15.5 seconds on Laukkanen and close up as well. He's doing all he can to try and get past Marcus Taylor. He's flashing the lights, just potentially saying, "Look, can you move over, please? Because I'm faster than you." But
Well, if you remember last week, these boys, when they did get close, they did have this same type of racing, but it did end up with a little bit of contact. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. But Wyatt, he is looking very eager to get past Marcus.
equally, Marcus Taylor is putting on a stellar piece of defensive driving here. I think that's what we saw of him last time out at Laguna Seca. He's putting it on
Ooh.
track again, but there goes Marcus Cormier on the inside with the switchback move, and Marcus Taylor, there's nothing he can really do. He's going to try and stay side by side. Cormier is going to take the place though around the outside through the chicane. A brilliant piece of driving. The gap's up to 17 seconds between him and Laukkanen, but now he can finally set about catching the Finn. After that horizon out of the pit lane, he got the move done. He made it happen with a brilliant piece of racecraft there to secure that second place. And now he'll surely be dedicating all his energy into catching Laukkanen in the lead in the Mercedes. Marcus Taylor is going to try and hang on his coattails through there. Of course, we do have the McLaren, the number 22 McLaren, but Cormier is going back into the pits, Misha.
Oh wow, what happened? Oh wow. What happened? This is crazy. Um Production truck, do we have any insight on if there's a penalty hanging or anything like that?
No, he's making a stop.
Wow.
He's coming in for a stop. Is it a fuel splash? Is it
I
tyres?
I don't think
We'll
they're
have to wait and
scheduled
see. This is a
a
very
little bit
bizarre
early.
decision from Wyatt Cormier, the championship leader, I might add. I've no idea why he's pulled in. Is it a splash and dash?
It could be, but
Caution out! Caution out!
caution. Caution.
Wow.
Caution is out. That makes sense.
Caution out! But he went in before it was actually scheduled. That's crazy. It's almost like he had a sixth sense, man. That's insane.
Wow.
That's insane.
Wyatt
Caution,
Cormier, we've
caution
just
out.
received
All drivers
confirmation.
need to keep their delta at 80 miles per hour.
We have just received word that
Delta
there
at
is a
80
caution out
miles
on
per
track.
hour.
It came out after Wyatt entered the pits, but it's an absolute stroke of luck for Wyatt Cormier. He's
Dude,
been
that is crazy.
bailed. It is. It absolutely is. He's been bailed out once again by the cautions and things going his way. I mean, things have to go your way, of course, in racing. You're never going to win it purely without any kind of luck or anything like that. You do need luck, and I think what we should actually mention is that Raikkonen, he's run a pretty faultless race so far. He's looked like the only driver who could challenge Wyatt Cormier, and he'll be so annoyed because he had a 16-second advantage. He was looking really nice and dandy
He
up in the lead of
was.
that race in the Mercedes.
He was in the field, gets compacted, and while we got going through this safety car period, I'm gonna take a split second to step away, my friend. I will be right back.
Well, I'll hold the fort as we go through the safety car period here. I imagine there'll be a couple of laps. Of course, they've got to have everybody get formed back up. I don't think there'll be a wave by because everybody's pretty much everyone's still on the lead lap. So it's going to just be a couple of laps behind the safety car, a couple of laps to recharge your batteries, to just save a little bit of fuel, of course, and your tires as well. Laukkanen will be aware of this. Now, he's still in the lead. That's the crucial thing. He's not given up the lead here. He's still going to have the chance to control the field coming up through the bus stop in a couple of laps' time. But the really interesting thing now is that unless there is a wave by, and that Porsche that sits in between Laukkanen in P1 and Marcus Taylor in P2, unless they get that Porsche moves over and there is a wave by, that's an extra car between Laukkanen and Taylor, and that's going to prove absolutely crucial in ensuring that that these guys hold their position. Now, what's going to be really interesting is Wyatt Cormier is currently sitting in P6 according to the timing screens, but he's pit. He's made his stop for tires. I think it was tires and fuel. And what that's going to do is if he has taken tyres and fuel, that's going to set him up so nicely for the second half of this race when, of course, he's made a pit stop earlier on. He's come into the pits a couple of times now. If he can pit under caution, we'll have to wait and see whether he's going to have to come back in again and what to see exactly what he did in that caution period. But it's going to be incredibly interesting to see what happens here with the pit stops. Do these guys feel like they can go longer and try and continue on without needing to sacrifice that track position? Do they sacrifice that track position and try and use the advantage of the safety car to pit and like get the fuel and the tires that they'll need for the rest of the race? I think there is indeed going to be a wave buy because from what I can see, Cormier is dropping back through the pack. That might be an intentional decision. That might be the spotter coming on his radio just saying you need to drop a couple more positions, matey. But because we continue round, then I imagine what's going through Lauken's head is going to be when he sort of decide what he wants to do here. Because as far as I'm aware, Marcus Taylor hasn't pit. None of the only guys who've pit under this caution period so far is Wyatt Cormier. So we'll have to wait and see if everybody comes in. That's going to be a very hectic pit lane. If nobody comes in, then it's going to be very interesting to see if Cormier can have that advantage and use it more crucially to his advantage later on in the race. But it's going to all be about how these pit stops are executed and what strategies people run. Because of course we've got 14 cars this week. That's going to invite so many more strategy options. Of course, this race won't be won entirely on pace. There will definitely be a strategy element to it. As we see the entire field run through, actually, it's Cormier has dropped to 9th there. I don't know quite what's happening with him, but at the moment he's staying at the back of the train. There is the number 12 Mercedes of Laukkanen, the Finnish driver, just following the safety car round. And it'll be interesting to see if he can what he can do really, whether he does pit, does sacrifice that track position, whether he stays out. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what really happens there as we run up through Blanchimont. But I think really what this race has shown so far is a lot of action, a lot of promise, and what we get to do now is, of course, we get all that race that had started to settle down for a while. It'll now be brought back to life. There is the field of cars just properly bunched up now, so I probably think there'll be one more lap before we go green as we run through Blanchimont once again. You can hear the hum of all these GT3 cars. And actually, Wyatt Cormier has gone to the back of the grid, so I don't know quite what's happened with the pit stops there. I presume the spotter has told him to do so as the field of 14 are running there. Well, who's going to take to the pits? Well, nobody. Laukkanen's staying out here, and I don't know whether that's the right call or not. Well, there is a couple of pitters. I think that's okay. Wow. So basically, everybody's pit but Laukkanen. It's kind of a repeat of last time, in that Laukkanen's thinking he can stay out, but what this has done is invited him back into the clutches of Wyatt Cormier, who's going to have fresh fuel and tyres for the second half of this race. Laukkanen hasn't pit yet, he has pit, but he hasn't actually necessarily pit under the caution period for the fresh fuel and tyres. So he's going to be running on tyres that are worn in, but they're slightly older. They're going to have slightly more degradation on them, and he's going to have less of a fuel tank to use when we go back to green. Everybody else has pitted. We'll update you when they. Well, I say everybody else. No, one of the Porsches. I think that is number 4 Porsche that is currently running now up into 3rd place because they haven't pit either, seemingly. So a couple of cars that have stayed out. There are the rest of the cars that have come out. There is Derby Mareth, you can see at the bottom of your screen. Led round by, from what I can see, they've been led round by Dembrovsky in the 81. There's the front car running cars are running around and just weaving, trying to get the heat into their tyres before we go back to green next time around as everybody's completed their pit stops. There won't be another chance. Of course, if you pit now, you'd be relegated to the back of the grid and you've kind of missed your chance. So Lavrin is obviously confident he can go to the end, or at least, if not go to the end, go and try and run a regular stint. Of course, he will be a few laps offset. So we've got a couple of different strategies now running. It's him and it's Jenkins, who have yet to pit for the second time. Wyatt Cormier is leading those guys who have pitted under safety cars, so they're going to have the advantage on the fuel and the tyre wear. Once we go back to green flag running, it'll be interesting to see whether that's the right call or not from Kaplan to preserve his track position, given the fact that everybody else has pitted. So it's going to be worn in new tyres and a full tank of fuel against slightly older tyres and a slightly smaller tank of fuel or less full tank of fuel. But the big advantage that Laukonen's got is excuse me, got a bit of a sore throat. You might be able to notice it tonight. But Laukonen's going to have the advantage of being able to choose when he puts pedal to the metal and goes all full throttle up to the line. That'll be the one question going through his mind at the moment. The one question going through Wyatt Cormier's mind is how can I gauge when Laukonen is going to make his move, and how can I follow him as closely as possible? Because again, if Laukonen gets a poor run out of the bust up chicane, it could all go to pot quite quickly in terms of his lead battle. It's such an unfortunate situation that he's in. No fault of his own, of course. That's the luck of the draw when it comes to these randomly generated cautions. But that's the agreement you will sign up for, and he'll know that that's always a possibility. But then again, there's always a possibility that the roles could be reversed. He could benefit massively if we have a second caution in this one. At the moment, the big winner is Wyatt Cormier, who's come back to second place with essentially no gap. We've basically reset the top two. Jenkins is running around P3 at the moment. That's a huge chance for them to gain some track time up at the front of the field. Well, actually, no, it's they're P4. Taylor is running third. So we just have a look at that. We've got 41 minutes remaining in this race, so we're deep into we're into the second half officially now, as we're going to go for one more lap of caution running as well, which is interesting. The Porsche safety car is there, and we've obviously, it's been decided there's going to be another lap of yellow flag running, but really what this does for the guys who've just pitted is it just eases their fuel concerns, because it means that they might be able to go for a splash and dash. They might even
Lights
be
are off.
able
We're going
to make it to the end, as we have Misha back in the booth.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off and come in out of nowhere, but lights are off, so we should be going green this lap.
Yeah, indeed. I just to update you, I don't know if you saw what went down in the under the safety car period, Misha, but we've got Laukkanen still in the lead, but his lead's been cut entirely to Cormier. And basically, apart from Jenkins in the number 4 Porsche, everybody pit under the caution period, apart from Laukkanen and Jenkins there in P1 and P3, which means that Wyatt Cormier and everybody else have got fresh tyres and a full tank of fuel that will take them to the end of the race, I imagine. Whereas Laukkanen and Jenkins are going to have to pit again, so they'll have to hope. They're probably thinking of waiting for a second caution period and banking on that. But we'll have to wait and see as to what happens in this race. But what have you made of it so far, Misha, in these opening 50 minutes or so?
I think it's been absolutely electric, man. Wyatt somehow always ends up right back where he started, even after making a mistake. So this is going to be very interesting. I think there might have to be a little bit of fuel saving trickery done, but yeah. And then let's see down the line. We got Eduardo and Darby starting back to back. BMW number 5 position right there. He's back. Gets a chance to fight again. And who was he fighting with? Let's see. Ooh, was it Goldschmidt? Goldschmidt looks like that damage might have put Goldschmidt down really bad.
Well, I can't see the Ferrari
Yeah, he may not even.
on the running cars. I think Goldschmidt might have retired, and we might have not noticed because of all the action going on track. I think that's probably safe to say that that incident with the BMW earlier on has kind of cost Goldschmidt there, and very unfortunate, of course. I think as well. I think we have Cannon also off the lead lap. We have, from what I can see, if I can just count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 11, 12 cars, or 9 cars officially running around here in this train. But I think we do have the top 11 who are there and ready to go racing. But now the big question for Lauconen, of course, Misha, is how does he attack this restart? How much? When does he go? How? When does he go? And where?
Yeah, gonna be very interesting to see if he's gonna drag him down the line a little bit, or if he's going to immediately just go. So, and like we said, we leave it F1 style up to the leader. Um, just honestly makes it a lot easier that way. Um, so we'll have to see. Wyatt's gonna have to be on his toes.
In, indeed, White Cormier, race one winner at Laguna
And
Seca, looking to take it to make it 2-2.
yeah,
But it's all eyes on Lauconen at the moment in the Mercedes to see when he goes. He's sticking quite closely to the pace car at the moment. He's not dropping back too much, so I think he's going to launch it out of the bus stop for the moment. To update you on the running order before we go, then it's Jenkins in third, Marcus Taylor down in fourth in the Porsche. Fifth place is the BMW. Sixth is that second number 22 McLaren. Darby Mouth is seventh. Cortez is in the Ferrari number 8 machine. Dembowski is ninth in the 61 Porsche. Then it's Vigil, Norton, Hernandez, and Cannon. As we go back to green flag running
ooh,
here. Look at that. It's goodness me already. Wyatt Cormier has got a great restart. And he's going to dive to the inside line and take the lead up inside the
oh,
first corner. Oh, no,
oh!
goodness me, there's a spin. Oh, he caught it. Goodness me.
This is gonna
It's the
cost.
spin is getting the fin of Logan and getting into the back
Gets to the
of the
lead.
Canadian Wyatt Cormier,
The
who
BMW to
holds the
second
spin quite
place. Darby to
impressively. And
third.
what's that allowed to
Darby to
do?
third.
Jenkins is through into the
Oh,
lead of the race. But now the BMW is going to have the run up towards Lake Arm, and he's going to go round the outside, I think, Misha.
this is crazy. Oh my, the whole order got shuffled. Oh, and here we go. Big lunge. BMW stays in the lead. Darby in third. Oh wow, this was just a crazy restart. And let's see, we got Comier in second. We got the Mercedes in ninth. I think they both have damage too. How much is the question? Um, if that's wheel damage or arrow damage to the back for Wyatt, their day is as good as done.
And there is Darby Marios going round the outside of Jenkins for second place. Look, the Aventus Motorsport alumni has just about managed to get second place. Marcus Taylor getting involved there as well. With I think that's Dembowski in the Porsche. To update you on the position of the two cars, then Wyatt Cormier running down in seventh place. You can just see him in that bright orange Porsche. He stayed with the field kind of. The real big loser of that was Laukkanen in the Mercedes, who's right at the back of this
Oh, he's
train.
banged
There
up.
he is, and you can see the damage he's got. Look at that, the big damage on the front of the Mercedes, and I'd say his race has been ruined there. We'll have to try and get a replay of what happened to try and figure out what exactly went on in the first corner. I was blindsided by the fact it even happened because it sort of opened up a whole can of worms as far as the rest of the field were concerned because nobody expected it. And there is Marcus Taylor, who is kind of dropped down to fifth place at the moment, but he seems to have the pace on the Ferrari of Cortez. And both got to hide. Oh no, that's Wyatt Cormier. Wyatt Cormier in the background has spun out of Blanchimon. I think that
Oh,
was
he
from
had
as a
rear
result of the
damage.
damage.
He
He's going to
had
have
to have
even
rear
more damage,
damage.
and he's going to have to. He's going to have to bit shortly. And yes, he
Oh,
does. Wyatt Cormier's race. We saw it last week how he almost threw it away at Laguna Seca. I'd wager he's thrown it away here because both of the top two contenders have come together at the first corner on the safety car restart, and they're now almost down and out on the field. The BMW is now leading by 2.3 seconds
oh,
over
Taylor
Aventus
looks like he
Motorsport,
has a
our
run on
very own good
Eduardo.
friend of the show, Darby Marioff.
Eduardo taking the middle of the track. Don't know if he made his defensive move already. Let's see. Gonna force the outside move.
There goes Marcus Taylor on the outside for the first
Oh,
part of the chicane.
and
Oh no, he's spun him out.
more! Oh no! Man! What a
Oh goodness
heartbreaker
me.
for Eduardo. Chasing down Darby for the final podium position, man. What chaos. What chaos here
Yeah.
Everybody's fighting
It is
hard.
chaos. It is absolutely chaos, Misha. In the first couple of laps of this safety car restart, it's completely shaken up the order. But what it means that now is the BMW. You remember he had the pace of that kind of Marcus Taylor battle earlier on. He was looking like he was going to go up into fourth place, made contact with Goldschmidt, and now he's profited from other contact, from other people's misfortune, and he's running really solidly with a 4 second
Caution
margin.
back out. Scheduled for 7:07. Caution back out.
And touch wood. I hope I don't commentate his curses, but as long as another caution doesn't come out,
I, I,
I'd say he's in a very good position
I'm
because he
hearing
made
news.
that call.
I'm hearing news
He
that
made that
caution
call
is
to come
back
in,
out.
Misha.
I'm hearing news that
Another caution.
is the caution back out. Is that
Caution's out.
caution is out?
Oh no.
Caution is out.
And touch wood. I hope I don't commentate his curses, but as long as another caution doesn't come out, goodness me.
The two cautions were
Caution.
scheduled at 6:50 p.m. Pacific time and 7:07 p.m. Pacific time. 17
And
minutes.
look at the marshal. It's a yellow flag. It's a caution. So just as we thought we might be on the other side of the carnage and the drama, we're getting some more now because with roughly 30 minutes to go, we've got ourselves another caution period, and it's the BMW who was looking set to take things from Darby Marioff, and Jenkins in the Porsche is now going to lose that advantage. And the big question, Misha, is do you pit again? We thought we might be on the
Yeah,
other side of
this
the
is gonna
carnage
this
and
is
the
gonna be
drama. We're
interesting
getting
here.
some
This is
more.
gonna be very interesting here.
Roughly 30 minutes to go. We've got ourselves another caution period, and it's the BMW
This is
who
gonna
was
be
looking
very interesting here to finish this race.
Porsche is now going to lose that advantage. And we've still got about 20, 30 minutes or so. There's still plenty of time for things to happen and more drama to occur. You know, we talk about it, don't we? In NASCAR, as they're saying, is cautions breed cautions. And while it isn't necessarily the same kind of system here at Job's Motorsports, it's kind of quite timely considering the drama we've just had through. What it's going to provide these drivers is an opportunity to just calm down a bit and collect their thoughts and just give them that little bit of breathing room that they probably quite needed, especially if you're someone like Darby Marriott or that BMW, where you've just been thrust into a completely new position after that contact between Wyatt Cormier and Kalkinen in the Mercedes. And wow, it's a welcome breather for everyone, I think, including us here in the booth. Just give them that little bit of breathing room that they probably quite needed, especially if someone like Darby Marriott or that BMW, where you've just been thrust into a completely new position after that contact between Wyatt Cormier and Kalkinen in the Mercedes. And wow, it's a welcome breather for everyone, I think, including us here in the booth. Oh gosh. So here we are then.
All right, we are back, and oh, yep, somebody just pitted. I'm not sure who, but we are back, and we apologize that we went dark there for a second. We were trying to decrease the pace car by 1 lap. Couldn't get it done. We're gonna get that figured out. So on longer tracks, we can decrease or just fiddle with the pace car laps. Actually, long-term goal, we're gonna have a manually driven pace car, so we don't have to leave it up into the automation's hands because we like a little bit of a faster speed limit too. But that's future work. Now going down the line, it looks like we got the number 14 BMW still in first place. Darby Marioth in P2. Eduardo in P3. Aventus Motorsports on the podium right now. Love to see it. But is am I is the Ferrari there? Yep, the Ferrari is behind him. No, well the Porsche is splitting them. So that's looks like the timing may not be updated there. Because I think that's Eduardo, if I'm correct. That's Eduardo behind the Porsche.
I think, yeah.
So it might be a pit something to do with just the timing board not updated. Not quite sure. That's interesting. That is very interesting. But we are
Hmm.
seeing Eduardo P3 on the timing board. Um, but
Yeah.
either way, we got Darby in P2. The BMW didn't pit, so we're gonna have to see if that. He was not here last week, so he didn't see how that affected Wyatt's race. We do have the retirement of Wyatt. We hear from him that he had terminal damage. That's very unfortunate. He'll be back next week. I mean, he was running. What a great race! Had a little bit of a hiccup there leaving the pits, but he'll be back. Is gonna. I know he will be, and that's next week or next in 2 weeks. We got Okayama. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's looking good. We got the Mercedes there in P6. Um, who knows how much damage he was able to repair, but with his back-to-back caution, he may have taken a little. Who knows? Um, but yeah, when we go around, I'm gonna take a quick peek. I'm gonna break the fourth wall one last time. We got 20 minutes left in the session, so I'm guessing by the time we cross the line, it's going to be about 18, 19 minutes. No more cautions for the rest of the race, as you boys know, because 2 is our maximum. This is the last time the field's going to be brought together. The last time it happened, there's absolute chaos. We're going to have to see how this one unfolds. Thomas, do you have any predictions? Because one thing I want to say is Darby and this BMW, we're going to have to get an actual name on the BMW because iRacing Systems, he's a third. That's all we know. That's all I'm not quite sure what the rest of his
I'm
name
Donovan
gonna,
is.
Voodoo.
I'm
Donovan
gonna,
Voodoo.
I'm gonna.
Donovan Voodoo? Is that what we're.
Voodoo. It looks like Budhoo or Badu, something like
Okay,
that.
well, we're going to call him
And then
Donovan.
the Mister in 5 is Davis Greenwell. Yeah,
Okay.
I gotta fine tune that because yeah, but those are the names.
And all right, so we got Donovan in P1. We got an actual name, but Donovan and
Finally.
Marvin, fucking Darby and Donovan checked out on the field there on the
And then
last restart.
The
We
Mister.
don't know
Oh,
what's going
absolutely.
on. Why Eduardo's
Yeah,
P4 right now? We'll see if the timing updates. But this is the last time the field was brought together. We're gonna have to see what happens. $60 total on the line,
Absolutely.
30 for the win, and it looks like Donovan is taking off.
There
Possibly,
we go.
yes. Yes, there we go.
Oh, sorry. There we go. So Donovan taking the lead in the BMW. Darby's going to have a look to the inside. He's into turn one. My screen's lagged, so I can't quite tell you exactly what's going on. But there we go. It's updated again. So it's Donovan who takes the lead in the BMW
Can you see?
from Darby Marioth in the McLaren. But Eduardo Cortez in the Ferrari is closing up in on Darby. Look at the run that Donovan's got off in the BMW in the Rover livery machine. Over Rouge they go. Will they get through safely? I think they will once again, side by side between Dabrowski or between Greenwell, Davis Greenwell and Eduardo Cortez for fourth place there. In fact, Eduardo Cortez having a look at the inside of Darby Marioff there. Sorry, I'll correct myself. As the BMW of Donovan then getting away from the field just about. In the background, you can see Marcus Taylor having a little look at Dembowski. As on the inside there, does go the Ferrari of Cortez. My screen is still lagging a little bit, so I can't quite tell you what's going on. There he goes on the inside. Darby Marioff loses that position then to the Ferrari, who will now set about trying to take down the BMW and try and take the lead of this race. We only have just over 15 minutes remaining, so it's squeaky bum time if there ever was that time in this race. At the moment, though, Donovan in the BMW is leading by about 1 second. He's got just enough of a gap, I think, where it's not going to be a concern going up towards the bus stop chicane and Blanchimon, but he hasn't really broken away from these cars in totality. Meanwhile, Darby Marioff has stayed there, is kind of staying there with Eduardo Cortez in the Ferrari. Behind them, both of them is Davis Greenwell
Eduardo
in
has
the
a
McLaren,
run.
then there's Marcus Taylor in the Porsche, Dembowski, and look at this now. Here is Eduardo Cortez wanting the race lead from the BMW. Through Blanchimon they go. Darby Marioff will close up in on these two as well. It's a three-way fight for the lead. They're going to go three wide for the lead up into the first corner.
Oh, and
around the outside.
Darby
He's
a little
going to
bit
look to go
wide, a
Darby
little bit
Marioff,
deep.
but he hesitates. And he's going to stay side by
Marcus
side.
Taylor to the
out the
pits.
final corner. Marcus Taylor has jumped into the
Oh!
pits. For the moment, though, it is Donovan who holds the lead. And oh goodness me, there's another crash. There's another crash in the background. I think it's Taylor. I think it's Jenkins even who's got involved in that one. Side by side, there is Darby Marioff and Davis Greenwell, third place for that final prize of $10 that would be going into your bank account at the end of this race. At the moment, though, it's Donovan in the BMW who's held the lead from Eduardo Cortez, who will be rallying for another
If they
attack.
both
Darby
made it through
Marioff
that without
round
a
the outside
slowdown,
goes.
that's crazy.
To hold his position, I wonder if there are any slowdowns there. I think somebody in the background might have one. There, though, is Darby Marioff who concedes to his fellow McLaren then. So it's all changing at the moment. Darby Marioff down into fourth place. He'll be looking to try and move back up a position at the moment, but it's still all to play for. Then with the clock ticking down, Misha, who do you have as your race winner at the moment? Because Eduardo Cortez is still sticking with Donovan's BMW.
And I'm gonna have to say, might be a little bit biased, but I know when Eduardo's hunting, and right now it looks like he's hunting the BMW, but looks like a very good. What is that? Poon? What's that corner? I know what that corner is called.
Puon, I think it's Puon, yeah.
Puon. That was a great Puon right there. But it looks like Eduardo's closing up again. Looks like they but Eduardo goes a little bit deep. But I know when he's back on track. He's fine. I might have just been seeing things. He is really sticking.
6-10. They come out on the runs. On the run towards Blanchimon, they've kind of opens out there. I think what happens is I think the BMW is just able to get the better exit. That opens up the gaps. Now, though, what you're seeing is the 22 McLaren is starting to find his way into this fight. Darby Marioff is falling back through the pack a little bit. So this could still be anybody's game. These top three are starting to close up. The BMW of Donovan not able to entirely break away from Eduardo Cortez in the Ferrari or Davis Greenwell in the number 22 McLaren, who is closing up consequentially on Eduardo Cortes in the Ferrari. So actually, this could all play into Donovan's hands here in the BMW as to whether that second and third place cars can fight back. Because look at the gaps, and you'll notice that Eduardo Cortes is going to come under some real pressure here. I suggest, depending on how they go through Rouge up towards the Les Combes chicane. We'll have to wait and see as they run through. There goes the 14 BMW Donovan, who gets a pretty good run of things out of the corner. He's not going to have any concerns up towards Blondman. He should be safe, really, for the rest of the lap because it's hard to overtake around Spa, apart from those heavier braking zones, Misha. This is looking really interesting as we go towards the closing stages.
It really is, and it, it's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, Eduardo's really in certain parts of that track. He's getting back to within a half second. This is the closest he's been all the whole time, but very interesting. These three right here, they're really fighting for it. And not much time. I would guess maybe about 15 minutes left in the session, if even that. Not much time. One mistake can put you back. The field's not spread out like it was at the beginning of the race. So these guys are going to have to be aggressive if they want their spot, but they're also not going to want to take too much of a chance because that could leave Darby or back there the 81 Porsche or even the number 12 Mercedes. I mean, this could get spicy here.
It really could. Look at the gap there between Eduardo Cortes and the 22 McLaren. That's starting to close up, I think. Just a, Sorry, my voice has just died a little bit there. It's 4 a.m. or roughly about there where I am over here in the UK. But yeah, Eduardo Cortes and the 22 Ferrari is coming under real pressure from the McLaren here as Donovan just starts to stretch away into a late lead here. They're going to go side by side up into the bus stop, are they? The Artemis McLaren on the inside now, looking to the outside line. On the Ferrari, it's going to have to be a really good run out of the final corner to get down into turn one. And then it's all about the exit after that, really, up towards P1. You can start to stretch away. Really see how close these two are, can't you, Misha?
Yeah, and this is what racing right now. All these guys, Eduardo. I mean, he at the beginning of the race he really wasn't. He was back there what about P6, P7. But after these restarts, once he got his chance, once the field bunched up, he's really put on the pace, put on the pressure, and right now P2. Same for the 22 Mustang, or I'm sorry, McLaren. But right here, looks like possibly doesn't look like he's going to make up the spot. I think that Mercedes probably still has more damage. He doesn't seem like he has quite the pace he'd had before.
Oh, absolutely. No, we know you can. There is certain parts of the damage on the in the current damage model that you cannot fix through a pit stop on iRacing, even with the required repairs. I'd suggest that's probably what happened. We saw a very damaged Mercedes earlier on after the contact with Wyatt Cormier, who's currently out of the equation this week. We'll see a brand new winner in the Joe's Motorsport League crowned today, taking home that $30 prize. It could be a podium comprised of drivers who are making their debuts in the series this week, which would be lovely to see from a perspective of just keeping the competition levels as high as possible, Misha. But these two, speaking of high competition levels, it's the Ferrari and the McLaren that are once again coming up on the run towards Blanchimont, and they are neck and neck.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see here. It's really key is how close can you stay through Blanchimont, but you're gonna get that dirty air, so we're gonna have to see. Ooh, is he trying to force it side by side? Oh, I think Eduardo just kept it on track. Who's braver on the brakes? Yeah, we're gonna have to see here. Really key is how close can you stay. Looks like the 22 McLaren's going to get the move done, but is Eduardo going to have a move back in turn one? He's going to have the better line. I think Eduardo just kept it on track. Braver on the brakes. Oh, it's going to be side by side. Going down one of the hardest corners. Let's see who's going to lift. Looks like Eduardo's going to make it through P2. What a battle between these two, but all while these guys are battling, Donovan's just walking away.
And walking away, he certainly is. This battling really is just serving to help Donovan in the BMW, in the front engine machine. And at the moment, it's kind of these two that are battling for this. Well, you're not just battling, of course, for points. Of course, we have a full season championship here, and everyone's trying to compete every week to try and win that championship. Of course, Wyatt Cormier, we should mention that he picked up all 25 points last week. He's not going to pick up any points for his efforts, try as he might this on this occasion. So it will be by default. It should be Marcus Taylor. If he can improve his position a couple of spots, he'll be taking the championship lead because of course it's 25 points for a win, 18 for second, 15 for third, and so on. It's the same points format as F1. So to take the championship lead, Marcus Taylor would need to score 7 points or more, which would mean he'd need to be sixth place or better, which he is closing in on Dembowski in the fellow Porsche there. So we'll have to wait and see that. In terms of a championship picture, that's going to be quite crucial late on in this race. For now, though, it's still Donovan out in front. He's started to open that gap up by about 2.5
Side by
seconds.
side,
Side by side, once again between the 22 and Eduardo.
Oh
Round the
no!
outside goes
Oh, both of them are gone! Oh!
It's a huge incident for the Ferrari. The McLaren's involved as well. It's all gone horribly, horribly wrong on the run towards Plongimon. And the McLaren will come off with slightly less damage. Still a bit of a bumped up front end. Oh, goodness me. More drama here at Spa-Francorchamps. I think that's Eduardo Cortes out of the race, Misha.
Yes, that is so disappointing, Eduardo, and him racing so good up into that point. But that means Darby is back up into P2. But look who's on his tail. The old race leader, the guy who led, I would say, a majority of this race up until the safety car periods. I can't say his last name. I'm American. Go at it, buddy. What's his last name? I'm sorry. Is that
it would be Laukkanen in the thin, chasing down for the second place. Of course, $20. As it stands, they'd both be in the paycheck podium positions at the moment. But it's the Finn who's trying his hardest to get past Darby Marioff, who'll be wanting to defend this second place as long as he possibly can. My voice is starting to go, I must say. I mean, I've already had a sore throat there. Now I've got to commentate this epic race. You can probably understand why my voice is starting to fade a little bit, but it's Laukkanen and Darby Marioff who are running neck and neck here. Oh, I mean, I don't want to curse anyone here, but what did we see last lap? A Ferrari, a McLaren getting involved with another car side by side through towards Plongimon. I think these two will keep it a bit cleaner than that we saw on the last lap. But nevertheless, it's going to be so interesting to see whether Laukkanen can go for the move up towards Plongimon. He's going to have to get a good run, which I suggest he'll get. He's close enough to have a look almost into that run towards Plongimon if he really dares so. But he'll stay behind for now. Darby Marioff will have to defend him all he can. They're both starting to get on the gravel there, and now the run will come up towards Plongimon for Laukkanen. He's repaired that Mercedes only just enough, and he's now looking for P2, which would be an incredible comeback drive considering where he started. He's on the outside line now, so he's going to run to the outside line, ducks back in to try and get the slipstream through Plongimon. He's going to not quite go for it at Plongimon. He's instead going to try and wait for the run up towards the bus stop chicane, but I suggest he's too far back to have a go. In fact, I think he's lost a couple of tenths there through Plongimon. Maybe he had to lift to just make sure that there wasn't contact. And no, Darby Marioff spins round.
No! And Marcus Taylor is the beneficiary. He is back on the podium. Wow!
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Through Plongimon, maybe he had to lift A spin for Darby Marioth drops him out of what would have been a surefire podium, and Laukkanen gets P2 without even having to do so much as lift a finger or lift a tire. In this case, he's 8.5 seconds off of Donovan's BMW. He won't be able to challenge for the overall win unless we see yet more drama at Spa-Francorchamps. But it's Marcus Taylor who, against all odds, has fought his way back to third place on the road. And Laukkanen gets P2. And who knows? Maybe he's going to have enough in the tank to try and challenge Laukkanen. But goodness me, Marcus Taylor will take the chat. Well, I shouldn't say anything now because given the track record of this race, Marcus, if I go and tell you that Marcus Taylor is leading the championship at the moment, he'll probably go and spin out as well. Because goodness me, Misha, we've seen so much today.
Yeah, we definitely have. What a wild race. I mean, man, just so many twists and turns. Looked like Darby and Laukkanen were gonna have a surefire podium together, but man, unforced air. Darby got up on the curb, got on the throttle, and it sent him around, and there he sits, P4. It looks like he's going to hold on to that position, but that's a heartbreaker right there to fall off of the podium there on what we got to be getting close to the last lap here, if this isn't already the last lap. Unforced air. Darby got up on the curb. I'm going to break the fourth wall.
But it's going to be...
I lied. I'm going to
going right to the end of the race now.
That's a heartbreaker right there to fall off of the podium there.
How long?
What? We got to be getting.
We don't quite know how long we have left. The broadcast
2 minutes
will be updated.
and 30 seconds left in the race, my friend.
But for now, it is Donovan's BMW who. 2 minutes 30?
Yes, sir.
2 minutes 30 seconds. So it's going to be 2 laps really. Before we see the checkered flag, and really for Donovan in the BMW. For all that he's had to do today, he's been involved in great battles earlier on. He's really had it all go his way in the second half of the race. A good strategy call from him to put himself in this position. He's got 4 seconds on Laukkanen, but I don't think Laukkanen's going to be as much pace as that Finn has got and has shown in his debut here in JM GT3. I doubt he's going to be able to make up that much time on the BMW, BMW which we know is fast. To update you on the podium positions, there is Marcus Taylor, the top 3 running all in the same shot down the Camel Straight. None of them are really in danger of losing their positions unless they themselves make an unforced error, because the gap between Darby Marioth and Jenkins in the Porsche is 10 seconds. So with 2 laps, and they're actually involved in their own little fight. The 22 McLaren is kind of caught back up to P5 and is looking to make that move happen as well. And I think they have just indeed, according to timing, the 4 of Jenkins has just conceded another place late on in this race. But back to the leader, Misha, what have you made of Donovan's performance in the BMW today?
I mean, it's been really good. But I am kind of wondering, man. He's shedding a lot of time, and if you remember, he didn't pit. He did not pit during that safety car period. So I wonder if he's doing. Look how much time I know Laukkanen's fast, but this seems like an excessive amount of time shut off here. So I wonder if Donovan might be a little bit worried about fuel, because when you were making that call about the pace, Laukkanen was 4 seconds behind, and now he's 3 and falling. We'll have to see.
Yeah, well, we saw the BMW didn't pit on that last pits that we kind of came through to position, and about 1.2 seconds he's gained on that 1.3 seconds, I'd say, on that last lap. But I don't think it's going to be quite enough, because Donovan's beaten the BMW, is now rolling on to his last lap of the race. We're inside the final circuit of the Spa-Francorchamps this week on GT3 League Racing. It's going to be Laukkanen kicking himself, because I think if you can argue, yes, if that contact with Cormier never happens, then Cormier probably never retires. He's now rolling on to his last lap. I think it's 1 lap. It's going to come 1 for the Finn, I'd suggest, even at the gap as it stands now, because Donovan's run a pretty flawless race, it must be said, Misha.
Yes, he absolutely has, and I do want to see. I know we haven't done it yet, but it's something that can easily be done because if you remember, Donovan went through the pits several times on a drive-through, so he hasn't had the most straightforward race too. You might have forgotten about that. Do you remember the incident he had? And I think he did a self-serve drive-through. Um,
He did, didn't he?
so if we can make it work,
Yeah.
I would like to get Donovan. Let's do a post-race interview. I think that would be if we can make
Yeah,
that
let's see if we
happen,
can do that.
we definitely should get a
I'd
post-race
love to know
interview.
the backstory behind that, as you mentioned. I had forgotten it as well, but he did, didn't he? He got in that contact with Goldschmidt. We believe, from our end, at least in the booth, we can't confirm that at the moment, that he did the noble thing and gave up that position, did the self-serving drive-through penalty. And though
Oh man!
Laukkanen
Oh,
is going
hold
to get
up!
right onto the back of him,
Hold up!
he's going to be a few
Hold up!
tenths off
Oh, I think that might be
from
it.
the slipstream, I would suggest. But has he maybe got enough of a run here?
He might. Is the fuel becoming an
He's
issue?
gonna have a run, but it's not gonna be quite enough. Look at that. 90 minutes of racing
You
and they're
know he's
glued
gonna
together
send it.
by about a
He's gonna
second.
keep it
But
clean,
in
but
the
you
end,
know he's gonna
he
send
won't have
this.
time to go for a top bomb in the final corner. He's going to try and send it to the outside line. It's not going to be enough. The flying Finn has
Oh!
announced himself on the grid. He'll go to the pit lane, but it's going to be the BMW of Donovan who will take victory here in the first round
Wait.
of the. Oh no! No! What?
Wait a
He
minute.
spun on the final corner.
Wait a
He
minute.
spun on the final. I don't believe it.
Wait.
He
Wait.
spun. Donovan in the BMW spun on the final corner, and I
No.
think that means that Laukkanen is going to take the win by half a second over Marcus Taylor, who will finish P2 for the second time in many weeks. I mean, they kept the drama right to the last, didn't they?
Did the BMW spin? Oh my God! He did.
Yeah, he spun
Oh!
on the final corner. I
Oh
do
my
not believe it.
God!
He's going to take the win. And I don't. And Laukkanen pits for some reason, and he
Oh, because
only
he had
holds
a
on to the win by
penalty.
half
I'm
a
almost.
second.
Can we get a confirmation? I think this guy just won the race, serving a penalty. My God, he
He
did.
pulled a Michael Schumacher in whatever year it was at the British Grand Prix. I think it was 1998 when Michael Schumacher did the same thing, served a penalty and crossed the line in doing so.
And he
Laukkanen
beat
just won that race
Marcus.
in the pits.
And he beat Marcus to the
I
line
do
too.
not. I mean,
Oh my goodness. Serving a penalty.
have you ever seen such a race with so much drama?
Can we get a blimp view of them crossing the finish line? I want to see how close that was. I think that Marcus was,
I
I
am.
mean, half a second behind. If we can get a
Yeah,
blimp view of them
half a second. That's what it
going
was.
over
Here's
the.
another look then. I think it's an unforced error from Laukkanen because you can see he almost wanted it, and the BMW
Oh
knows
my
that he's.
goodness.
I can't believe it. It's just a spin. Here's a look at how close it was then between Laukkanen and Marcus Taylor, who will, by some margin, what has he got to do to win a race? Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Have you ever? Another look then. I think it's an unforced error from Laukkanen because you can see.
What?
Oh my goodness me! We should mention as well, in all of that, our good friend Darby Marioff did score his first podium
He
in the
did.
series. Just about. He did. He got the podium.
He got
the
podium. How far did Donovan fall off? That's what a Let's see race results here. Let's see if these pop
just
up.
to confirm then, the race results mean that Laukkanen, the Flying Finn, who we called in second position right until the final corner, he will take victory he will take victory in this race over Marcus Taylor by half a second. There will be Darby Arith, and that McLaren that was in the wars in the final couple of laps did fight back to second place over Jenkins in the Porsche. Dembowski will come home sixth with Donovan's BMW. He did get back going and will take points from seventh position. A gutting way to end it. What a race he had up until then. It didn't, just fell apart at the final hurdle. Vigil will take home eighth place. Eduardo Cortez will score points in ninth. Norton, by the way, I don't think he's been running around since the first couple of laps. He'll take 10th place. Wyatt Cormier won't even score in 11th position. And there's Canon and Goldschmidt involved in the earlier contact with the BMW will complete your running order. But Misha, I just want to ask you, out just your thoughts on that race as a whole, because it seemed to never stop giving us drama.
Yeah, I know. I don't think that this race is ever gonna be topped. That was, I mean, just turn after turn after turn, and it literally gave us one final drama swing in the last corner. The last corner. That was crazy, man.
The very I mean, look, it ain't over till it's over, and that's what we proved today in the Joe's Motorsport GT3 Series. Goodness, I mean, if you enjoyed this, come back for Okayama next week because who knows what will happen there. It's a completely different track. It's a shorter track. It's a track that I've raced on, and I must say it's a very, very fun track. And we've got all these guys returning back next week. The point standings will mean, though, if in terms of the really important things, Marcus Taylor will take the championship lead. Darby Marinoff will claim second overall in the championship as it stands. So those are the guys to watch out for when we go to week 3 in Okayama in a couple of weeks' time. And I cannot wait for that. We've got NASCAR coming up next week. This same time, all our races are run 6 p.m. EST on the Wednesdays. So if you did enjoy, I mean, how could you not have enjoyed what you saw this week? Make sure to return same time next week. Me and Misha, I should say, will be in the booth guiding you through the second round of the NASCAR Cup Series here on Job's Motorsports. What a race! And we've got 6 more of these to go. But from me here, type in Thomas Groves, the Motor Nerd. He's been Misha White. We'll say goodbye for now. And thank you very much for watching.